Hi Fude lovers, welcome back to my channel. I would love for you to subscribe and click the bell icon for channel notifications. Here's part 3 of my huge haul. Part 1 and 2 will be linked below. Next up is Chikuhodo. This is the MK12. It's a portable maki cheek brush made out of a mix of gray squirrel and horsehair. The golden leaves on the maki are absolutely stunning. I want to get the MK11 powder brush with the gray squirrel and goat mix eventually. I think this would make a nice travel highlight brush. I also got the MK15, which is a retractable lip brush with the same golden sakura maki as the MK12. It's made out of weasel. I really got this for the maki since I'm not a lip brush person. It comes starched, so after you wash it, it'll go to its normal shape. I like the tube design. It's not your typical cylindrical tube. It's cylindrical from the bottom up to the middle, then it gets squared at the top and it tapers on the sides as well. It's a really cool design. Here are the MK12 and 15 next to each other. I finally got the MKUM. I asked CG Japan about a year and a half ago if the MKUM was discontinued, and they said it wasn't and that they would restock eventually. I then asked again at the end of 2022 if they were going to restock, and they said they would check with Chikuhodo. I noticed on January 12, 2023 that the availability status had changed from out of print to back ordered, 1 to 3 weeks. Then it surprisingly came in stock the next day. I was pretty happy and excited because I was waiting for it to come back to order it. I wavered multiple times in 2021 on whether or not I should buy it, and then it went out of stock at CG Japan, so it was kind of the one that got away for the longest time. The box is a super reflective brushed gold that flips open on one side. I'm not a big fan of the matte ferrule and handle and how the tree branch has an abrupt cut at the end, but I really like the reflectiveness of the moon and the plum blossoms. I prefer lacquered handles in general, like the MK1, 2, and the Z series. I've also heard great things about the head for this brush. I'm glad to finally have it in my collection. Obviously, being stuck in the plastic wrap did it absolutely no justice. It is so reflective and gorgeous in real life. The colors of the magpie birds and the plum blossoms vary depending on each handle. Mine has a lot of silver and iridescence on it, but I've seen older ones with a lot of magenta pink, like on the leaf parts. I honestly thought that this would feel really lightweight because it's matte, so I thought it would be like a tin material, like the Chikuhodo 2015 Lumiere powder brush that I have. That one's pretty lightweight. It's more of like a tin material. This one, the handle part is actually made out of wood. Like I can see the little slit marks of the natural wood. I'm not sure if it'll show up on camera, but if you look really closely, there are tiny little slit marks. I'm pretty happy with how it feels held in my hand weight-wise. The hairs are nice and soft. I'm kicking myself for not buying it when it first came out and in 2021 because, I don't know, I just feel like maybe I would have gotten one with more hot pink on it if I had gotten it before, because the older brushes that I've seen have more magenta on the leaf parts. That's just personal preference for me. And they totally all vary, so maybe I could have gotten one with more magenta on mine this time around. I just got a more silver one. Maybe I'll have to buy another one. Like if I really, really love this brush to the point where I want a backup, then I'll probably end up getting it. And then fingers crossed I get one with more magenta. I got another Z11. This is one of my favorite Chikuhodo brushes of all time. I did pull one of mine out. It's an amazing grayscale blender and works well for crease color as well. The new one got flattened in the package, but the shape is round. This is a flat pine scroll and weasel mixed brush. I've had good luck with a special priced Chikuhodo pine scroll flat eyeshadow brush, so I wanted to try some more flat pine scroll brushes out. I'm not a fan of pine scroll face brushes though. They're generally not soft enough for my sensitive skin, especially the Japanese ones. This used to be made with a mix of pine and Canadian scroll, but they later changed it to weasel. I read on a Japanese site that this brush with the Canadian scroll mixed in applies more pigmented than the Silver Fox F05 and an Chikuhodo full Canadian scroll brush. So in order of least pigmented to most, a full Canadian scroll brush, the F05, followed by the RE12-2. Hopefully this one is as good as the old Canadian Scroll mixed one and can apply to full opacity within 2 to 3 swipes. This is the Artist BL18-2. The head is similar to the RC2, but the handle is much, much longer. The handle feels very lightweight, which was surprising. I expected it to feel more weighted. Surprisingly, it is made out of natural wood. The RE12-2 is as well, but it's an eye brush, so I don't expect it to feel heavy or weighted. I think the RC2 overall weight feels more balanced than this one, and they're the same price. There's also the red short handle version of this brush called the RE18-2. I love round scroll cheek brushes, so I was curious to try it out and see if it was any different from the RC2. This head looks a little smaller to me, but I haven't washed it yet, so we'll see. It is nice and soft just like my other gray scroll brushes. Those of you who love long handles would find this more useful than the RC2 and the RE18-2. Here's how it looks post-wash. I laid it flat on one side with other brushes so it looks kind of uneven. Here it is next to the RC2 that was in a brush guard. The RC2 has silkier hairs while the 18-2's hairs are drier. The ZE2 from their limited edition Zen series is the only one out of the haul that I opened and washed. Here's how it looks post-wash. This is also after use. It fluffed up quite a bit. This will be a mini review since I know people are curious. The standout to me is not the hair, but the ferrule and handle combination. The whole ferrule and handle combination feels much heavier than the KZ series and is such a pleasure to behold and hold. Maybe the Grandio wood and the ferrule that they use this time are heavier than the KZ series in general. I did not like the metallic green gunmetal ferrule at all in the stock images, but Chikuhodo brushes tend to look much better in person. The ferrule and handle combination pair very nicely together and I grew to like it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea and this color ferrule is atypical. The series has dark tones from the dark hair tips to the ferrule. It's interesting to see a Chikuhodo series that uses a ferrule color that is so different from what they usually use. I got it because I was curious about the hair, knowing that my Chinese fox brushes would probably still be softer and I'd still prefer them over the Zen series. It was definitely a purchase for science. I was right, I prefer my Chinese fox brushes like the Shosholong fox brushes over these. They're silkier and much more velvety. I love the way Shosholong treats their fox hair. The silver fox from the Zen series are soft, but not that much softer from their FO series. The hair characteristics are different, but I won't go into detail here. I will say that they seem stronger than the hairs from the FO series. It's got good spring. If you're like me and are curious about the hair, or if you're a collector, then I would suggest getting 1 or 2 to try out first to see whether or not you like it, but don't wait too long because we don't know when Chikuhodo will stop producing them. I much prefer the Homare Kazan series over this one. Maybe the hair I got on my ZE2 isn't as nice as some of the other hair batches that other people have gotten. I know a lot of Fude lovers absolutely love this series, so remember that there are an immeasurable number of opinions out there and not everyone's going to agree with one another. Maybe the first batch they came out with was better, and as they produced more subsequent batches, they used hair that wasn't as nice. It could be that. It could be that the ones that, like the hair that I got, is just not as nice as maybe someone else's, or maybe this is just how it all feels, I'm not sure, but I'm not over the moon with it. Next are Kumanofude Select Shop brushes. This brand is by the Kumanofude Select Shop in Japan, and I'm guessing Chikuhodo is the OEM. It's not new, and I had ordered the Round Undyed Go SS4 blending eyeshadow brush back in 2015, but they sold out after I placed my order, so I didn't get it in the end. Now I'm revisiting the brand over 7 years later. These can be purchased numerous ways, either through the CD Japan proxy service, Fude Japan, other proxy services, or if you travel to Japan and go to the stores. I'll try to link the CD Japan proxy FAQ page below in case you're interested. They have 2 lines, the S series, which has white short handles, and the SS series, which has long red handles with a matte sheen. The SS series is the higher end, more expensive one. I got a gift set that comes in a nice box. Starting from the left, I got the SS1-2 flat gray scroll powder brush, SS2-2 round gray scroll cheek brush, SS4-1 flat gray scroll eyeshadow base brush, and SS4-4 tapered round gray scroll, and Go eyeshadow brush. The backside of the handle says natural hair ends are used. They have tapered tips. Here's the SS4-1 flat gray scroll powder brush. I'm just going to call it SS12 to make it easier. It's a standard medium paddle-shaped powder brush. I was curious to see how the hairs would compare to other brands. This looks like a powder brush on the small side. One of my friends would consider this a blush brush, and I think she would even consider this to be on the small side for blush because she uses really big brushes for blush. If you like really big brushes, this could work for blush, but yeah, I think it wouldn't really be sufficient for powder. We'll see after I wash it though. I don't expect it to fluff up that much. The SS2-2 is a round gray scroll cheek brush. I had to get this one since it's round and similar to the Chikuhodo RC2. The head shape and softness feel quite similar. I think I'll really enjoy using this. The ferrules and handles feel lightweight. Here it is compared with the Chikuhodo Artist BL18-2. They're both soft, but the Kumanofude Select Shop hairs feel silkier, like more conditioned, whereas the Artist one feels a little bit drier. Here's the SS4-1. This flat gray scroll eyeshadow brush reminds me of the Chikuhodo Z5. It looks like it was modeled after it. It's on the medium to large side. I don't have the Z5, but I may pick it up if I like this one. Here's the SS4-4. This tapered pencil brush is made out of a mix of gray scroll and goat hair. It's pretty soft and big. I'm going to try it out for the crease and outer V. I didn't originally intend on showing any of the brushes from the haul post-wash since I may potentially review some later, but I figured I'd do so since I have some that are freshly washed and dried. The powder and cheek brushes fluffed up while the eyeshadow brushes look the same as their hair lengths are shorter and they have a lot less hair. The brushes pretty much feel the same in terms of softness and quality post-wash. The SS12 powder brush is fluffy and looks like a versatile size that can be used for blush, bronzer, and finishing powder. I grabbed some brushes I've been using to compare the size with. Here it is next to the Zuvmore Black Onyx No. 1. Chikuhodo T5. Chikuhodo B110. Shosho Lang LL02. The SS22 cheek brush is the most surprising to me because I thought it would be around the same size as the Chikuhodo RC2, but it's larger. My RC2 was in a brush guard, but I'll also compare it to the Artist BL18-2 since that one is freshly washed and fluffed up. I've also compared it with the Chikuhodo T4 and the Zuvmore Black Onyx No. 4. The SS4-1 flat eyeshadow brush gets thinner at the top and is light in density, so it's probably going to be suitable for light eyeshadow base. Here it is compared with the Chikuhodo J532 and Chikuhodo Ksz-04. The SS4-4 pencil brush is probably going to be too big as an outer V brush for me, so I hope it works well as a crease brush. You could also use it to smudge your eyeshadow. Here it is compared with the Chikuhodo Mizume Zakura Medium and Large. The Mizume Zakura line was replaced by the Yoshiki line, and the shapes and hair lengths are similar. Next to the Chikuhodo T8, Kyuredo KK4 and Fude Japan M, with the Koyomo Nadeshiko Pearl Pink Shadow Brush. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye!